a leopard. Did you hear it? I just heard a leopard. Hi everybody, my name is Mark and this is Safari Channel. You're watching live from Duma Game Reserve here in the African bush. And actually I'm not going to dawdle on this introduction because I've just heard a leopard and it's up near Zoe's Road and we're going to go straight up there to have a look. Welcome. Lovely Sunday afternoon. Pardon? No, don't worry, just keep on there. And for those of you in another part of the world, North America, well, United States in particular, it is Memorial Day weekend and Memorial Day Sunday. I'm sure a lot of people are out partying and playing and skiing, and I'll get to that later. But hope everyone's enjoying a Memorial Day weekend. My word, we've got a leopard off the bat. Well, we haven't got it yet, but we're going to try and find it, that's for sure. Excuse me, plover and dove. Lost the picture. We're out here on the open area near camp, and we've been looking for something to open with. One or two starlings, a single hornbill that flew away, one dove, and of course the lapwings are around. But other than that, this temperature, this weather has forced everybody into thicker bush, get out of the cold, the rain and the wind. I'm hoping that this was a leopard up on quarantine. One of the beauties of this new vehicle, that when it is stopped and it's switched off, we can hear sounds. I don't believe I would have heard that leopard if it was the jigger. So, one of the good properties of driving this new vehicle with the new broadcast equipment is that it doesn't make as much noise. And a leopard sawing is not really as loud, or not nearly as loud, as a lion roaring, and one can only hear it relatively close to the cat. So I'm guessing that it is possibly here on Zoe's Road. I'm hoping that it was here on Zoe's Road. If not, then it was further up on Vertella Access Road, but we're going to just do a little stretch of Zoe's to have a quick look. There we go. There the tracks, just come across very fresh tracks, and it looks like it could be Karula walking on the road, so she's somewhere up ahead of us. Not too fast unless she decides to move off the road somewhere. Yeah, kitty, kitty, where are you? Oh, it's cold, I need a jacket. Quite active before game drive. I was getting quite warm. I took a few layers off and now I need to put some back on again. Okay, we need to just check the road for tracks, see if she is still walking on the road. Yes, looks like she's just gone in here. She's gone through here somewhere. Unless she went in and then came back onto the road. Check the tracks again. I just saw one footprint as I stopped then, pointing off the road into the bush. And that would have been her. Heading straight for, I'm thinking straight for where she was with the boys. can only find it again now. Yeah, so she's gone off here. It's pretty thick. And she's got a couple of minutes head start on us. I'm going to try and find a way through here. Grass is taller than a leopard. Maybe through there. Sure, this is kind of exciting. I know that she's here. And she's only a couple of minutes ahead of us, if that. But the longer I dawdle, the further away she gets. Of course, I can't see any tracks off-road. All the grass is damp, and without actually being on foot, it's pretty hard to track through this long grass. I'm going to just get a little bit further and stop, and hopefully she's going to call again. Nice big termite mound maybe up there. Monkey thorn. I'm just going to go into this termite mound and have a look quickly. I heard something more towards Impala Plains, but it might be wildebeest.
Yeah. No, I had leopard again. I'm pretty sure I had leopard from that side now. Yes.
I heard like a grunt. My guess is that she was cutting through here to where she left the boys. Going to fetch them again. Well, we can... But she also could have been cutting through here to go to Impala Plains. keep trying. We're a little bit behind now because now I've got to make my way back out onto the road. I was really hoping that maybe I would just get lucky. Had a very exciting experience last night. Went up to Bush Lodge, and on the way there I was with Kaz and Tara, and we bumped into a leopard on the way. I'm thinking it might have been Saseka. In the moonlight, of course, the bright moon switched the lights off. We were watching her in the moonlight and actually switched the engine off, switched the lights off, stood with her, stood out through the roof of my landy, and actually in the moonlight we could watch her stalking something. So we just sat quietly, and the next minute we heard the squeal of an animal. I switched on the lights, headed closer towards her, and she'd caught a white-tailed mongoose. It was very exciting, quite incredible. We didn't see the actual kill, but poor child was still alive when we got there. And she dragged it along Gowrie Main Road for a while because there were no trees where she was, and then eventually took it off. When was the lion here? This must have been yesterday. There's lion tracks here, but they've been rained on because we've had all this rain today. Interesting. What we might have heard was lion fighting over a kill rather than her. That might be why she veered off rather than stayed on the road. Because this means I want to get to Sandy Patch, but we're going to have that big breakup area in between. Maybe everybody can just bear with me through that. This weather is ideal for cats. The times that they're most likely to do anything during daylight hours and spend energy hunting, apart from the opportunistic hunt where something might just crop up while they're sleeping, but to actually actively go out and hunt, this is the kind of weather that cats are going to do it in. This is the reason why Karula's moving around at the moment. Warthog been running here, vacating the area. If Tara's in FC, just ask her where the sticks were, please. If Tara is there in FC, could you please ask her? Here's this big warthog. Please ask her where the sticks were. Didn't copy? Stop and listen again. Tara, didn't copy that? Yesterday? Okay, copy. This is a big boar we see at Gowrie Dam. He's one of the only big boars that we get to watch because he's accustomed to being around the lodge. I've actually seen him in Vuyatela Lodge. We are quite far away from Vuyatela at the moment. So he's one of the few relaxed warthog that we get here. Quite recognizable by the size of those, the first pair of warts below his eyes. Very, very large. Moving on, I want to try and keep the momentum going for this leopard. I just want to know if there were any lions seen in the last 2 days and where. I've heard that the sticks were around. These are the tracks of that big warthog we just seen. Hopefully we're not going to lose signal. But Bets, if you're watching today, I believe it's your birthday. And a very, very happy birthday, Bets. From all of us here at Safari Channel on Wild Earth. Bets has been watching us for a long time now. And I know, Bets, your favorite are Ellie's. If I can, I'd spend the whole drive with Ellie's for you. And at the moment, we are just trying to get closer to a leopard that I heard at the start of drive. And the longer it takes to find her, the further away I get from finding her. But I'm not giving up too easily. 2 doves in the road. There we go. Good luck signal there. According to Rex. Used to mostly only work for Rex though. See what we got in the road, some tracks again. It's just that big warthog that must have been down here on the open area. Just stopping on Impala Plains open area, well, I suppose just all Impala Plains. Just going to try and listen for a minute. Sound of a vehicle in the distance. Didn't copy that, go again. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Sapiwa, I didn't understand that. Okay, copy, thanks. Not hearing any sound now. Noise of that car is now gone. Crucial to finding animals sometimes is just being able to sit and listen for a moment. One thing about this weather is it's cleared the dust and smoke out of the sky, and you can see clear through to the mountains today. Ed was asking. Oh, thought I heard something. Ed was asking if warthog males are solitary like the other boys. Not necessarily. I mean, they are quite tight-knit in a family group, but they don't spend time with the family, especially when she's got piglets and she's busy with them. I know they're all foraging on their own most of the time. Okay, there's nothing happening here. We're going to go onto the road towards Sandy Patch, and we are going to lose signal. Enough. We're going to lose signal, so Piwe will have to cut to Gari. I was in such a hurry to come and look for this leopard, I forgot to mention that Herman's on camera with me today. Or maybe I did, just in case I didn't. Herman's with me. Herman says hi. At the moment Sapiwa is in final control. You know, when lions are roaring, actually let me pause that thought, because I know we're going to break up in a sec. Alright, so Piwe, I'm sure you're going to be for the next 2 or 3 minutes. This one I heard will be some noise coming from.
Good afternoon, everyone. Spoo speaking at the final control. We apologize about the loss of the picture now. We are in the beach area, so we are on Gary now. As soon as everything will be okay in the Ganda, so we'll be back on live. Cheers all.
Well, I'm back at the kill site where I was hoping maybe to find something. Of course, I'm not too sure where the boys were this morning. There are tracks of one of them heading away towards Impala Plains, but that was before the rain. And with okay, just getting a message that they were a bit further northeast. Could that be there, maybe? I'm just thinking, oh, there looks the tracks here. Yeah, I think I can see it. But with that leopard calling, if it was Karula, I'm pretty sure it was Karula, but with the leopard calling, a strong possibility that huh?
After that kill, we saw the leopard. Right.
Okay, so I followed the wrong track. I think Tara's talking about just through here. That termite mound in there. But with the leopard calling, if one of them was still here, they would have headed off to where they would have heard another calling. Could be worth taking a look. Far further east, there has been cars through here, so it could be this termite mound. to have a look in the area, and I'm going to stop again to listen. By now she would have made it here from Zoe's road cutting. There I can see a leopard now. Thanks, Tara. Yeah, on top of the termite mound. Yeah, still here. One of them. Fantastic. At least we found one of them. Actually, that looks like... Pardon? Okay. Tell me when. I've got a feeling this is her. Come to look for them and they're not here. I'm guessing. Tails. Oh, calling. She's calling now. It is her. So we've caught up with her. She's probably been smelling them here. She's just standing on top of this termite mound and calling. Louder and louder. One of the boys has gone down south. Towards Impala Plains. Southwest. Definitely was her calling. Recognize that voice anyway. Yeah, we're going to go close now. So she's now trying to relocate them with a bit of luck. She's come back to fetch them to go to a kill, which is normally what she does when she does come back to an area that she'd left them previously. She's going to start come down now. She's coming. I'm going to have to follow her now. Hello, Karula. I saw tracks on the road heading towards Impala Plains. She's actually gone the way we've just come to that other termite mound. So she's giving me a bit of the run around. Hope I'm not there. Oh, I forget how long this vehicle is. Oh, an oil tanker. And the jig is like a little tugboat. Hope I can keep up with her in this grass and this bush. Not just yet, thank you. Sorry, I'm just busy. Sorry, anyway. She seems to be cautiously approaching the area where the kill was. I can see the boobine from here. She's not exactly making a beeline for it. And that could have something to do with her being wary of other predators that might be in the area, having had a kill up there. And since she's not getting a response from the boys, she obviously wants to change her position and then call again. I think it was pure coincidence, absolutely perfect timing, that as we got here, she was on the termite mound where one of the boys were this morning. Gonna call again. Yeah, she's calling. And then she'll give her territorial and she doesn't get a response. She's scenting, possibly scenting urination on the ground. Urine, I mean, my brain today. Calling quite loud. One of the boys must still be in the area. But it also goes to show how independent they're getting. Whereas in the past they would have maybe moved within a, well, let's call it, when they were very young they wouldn't have moved at all. As they were growing a little bit older, they would have perhaps moved a little bit more within the area that she left them, to the point where now they're moving considerably far from the area that she does leave them. We got a clear shot. It'd be nice if we can just catch that call again on. No, don't buzz, please don't beep. Okay, try and get in through these trees quickly. Right in front of us, yeah. I think she might climb this tree. Come on, girl. Get up there. No, go up. Spraying her, marking her territory at the same time while she's still looking for the boys. Just a beautiful tree for her to climb though. Come on, there we go. Oh, fantastic. Just getting some height. Do I need to move back so she's not hidden? And ideally we want to be in front of her. She's sniffing there. It could be one of the boys was up that tree at some time. She can smell something on that branch. But she's trying to, what she needs to do, she needs to get a little bit of height out of the grasses because a leopard is such a short cat. She's got to get up out of the grasses to get that voice out there. And at the moment, we don't have a breath of wind. This cloud and the coolness of the air is making her voice travel a lot further than it would do on a normal afternoon when it's very, very hot. In fact, if it was a sunny afternoon, she probably wouldn't have even come this way till much later. I'm going to try her, and while she's up there, let's just try and get around the front of her. Good. She'll look this way and call in a sec. Still not getting a response. If the boys are some distance away, obviously it's going to take them some time to get back here. Now, I wasn't really looking at tracks too much around here. It's not easy to see tracks here, but there's a possibility that hyena might have been snooping around, which could have been the result, or rather been the cause of the boys leaving the area. Of course, just their own independence and boredom with just sticking around waiting for mom, wearing thin. to sit and wait with her and follow her. I think she's going to get to the point where she's just going to sit and wait rather than move around too much. Extremely lucky that we're out so early and the vehicles aren't out yet. I'm sure we're going to be getting a few game drive vehicles coming through. Okay. Question coming from Randy. Let her finish calling. Do you need me to go back a bit, or should we try and change position?
Yeah, possible.
Randy's asking if the big cats also have hairballs. Mentioning how his cat throws up hairballs. Not to my knowledge, I have to be honest. All my years of watching cats, I've never seen a cat throw up a hairball. You know, they're eating a lot more hair and fur in their diet anyway with the animals that they eat, and that all comes out with the dung because they don't digest hair and bone, so that will come out with the dung. But I can't say that I've ever seen a big cat cough up a hairball. In the distance. Let me try around this monkey pod. Now if only she'd just look this way again. Here we go. Hello girl. Where are your boys? Hello Karula. No. Please look with me so I can get a little one photo of you up there. Okay. Jody. Wants to know how far will the call travel. There's a bit of a breeze coming in now from the sort of the northwest. Obviously it's going to travel a bit further to the southeast. But I was going to mention it earlier. first of all, lion, when they call, they don't necessarily stand up. They can roar from flat cat, I mean, with their heads on the ground, lying sideways, sleeping. Leopard invariably are calling when they're standing or when they're walking or when they're up and about, or like she is, gaining ground or gaining height by climbing a tree. I would say leopard probably about a half a mile or so. That's time to move on. I managed to at least get one photo. Here we go again. Nearly, no. Should have to call again. Now we need to be that side again. Which we can do. Yeah? If she's got a kill in a tree somewhere, at some point she might even give up and just head back to her kill, and this will be part of that whole process of separation. It's not one particular day, it's not one particular action, it's something that's been going on for months now, and it's something that will be going on for a little while yet. A lot of people, I know we've had a few questions in the past few weeks, when is she going to leave the boys, or when are they going to leave her, and when it's not going to, it's just going to be one day we're just not going to ever see them again altogether. And this is one of those days that pretty much indicates to her that the independence of the boys is becoming more of a real factor in her life. Where are your boys, girl? We're back. Yeah. Monty, shalom, Monty. Monty wants to know how far we are from the leopard at the moment. I would say around 20 feet, less than 20 feet. She's just a little bit higher than eye level with Herman, coming down the tree now. And now about 8 feet and walking away from us, mumbling to herself. Probably saying to herself, I told those boys to stay put, why don't they ever listen to me? Okay, we got to turn around quickly. Clever leopard knows to walk away from us behind the vehicle because it takes me time to turn around. Okay. Did I miss it? And who's that from? Okay. And now, see, taking time to turn around, I've lost her briefly. Of course, if they're calling, we'll pick. Huh? Gone that way already. There she is. Mitzi asking how long or how, until what age will she be able to bear cubs. A leopard will probably live, well, we know there are some individuals that have lived up into 15, 17 years old. Safari is a very old female. Typically, they'll live up to about 10, 12 years maybe. Of course they are. Yeah. Oh. It'll be alright. It'll be alright. There are always exceptions. There are going to be leopards that live longer, especially those in captivity. But we're talking about leopards in the wild now. Let's say on average about 12 years or so. That's probably right up until almost to their last years. Okay. Question coming in from Ed. Hi Ed. Again, regarding Karula's litters. Her first litter were 2 female cubs. And now 2 boys, and Ed wants to know if that's typical, if that always happens. No, Ed, I think it's really somewhat rather unusual in that, or rather, I don't know how to put it, it was just, you can't say coincidental or chance or anything. It was just really quite amazing that it just happened to be that way for her first 2 litters. Who knows, the next litter might be a male and a female. But no, I wouldn't say it's typical. Okay, I think I've lost her again. No, she's ahead of us. Still ahead of us. Moving back towards Zoe's road now. hear a Franklin behind us. Could be complaining because one of the boys are coming. Her normal vocalization of calling the boys when she's close to where she leads them, which is that sort of ow kind of a call, obviously wasn't working, so she's going into the sort of the much louder territorial call that is hopefully going to reach their ears. Good chance that the noise I can hear from a Franklin behind me could be one of the boys hearing this and coming back in this direction. Move a bit forward for her. Come sit on the spare tire, Karula. You can come and call from the spare wheel. That's why we put it there, especially so you can come and sit on it. Yeah, she's also hearing this Franklin that's making a noise behind us. Yep. Good afternoon, Ellen, or good morning in the USA. Hope you're having fun on your Memorial Day weekend. Ellen's asking, where's the father in all of this? Doesn't he stick around like the lions do? And no, we do see him. His name is Yambilo Jordan, and well, typically a leopard are solitary cats. And the only time we do see leopard together are sorry, I didn't want to talk over her. Only time we see leopards together are typically when we have a female with her cubs. And then when they get bigger, like Misha and Induna, to see 3 adult-sized leopards together is actually quite incredible. We've had some wonderful moments where he has joined them, not for socializing purposes, but where they've been on a kill. And certainly there isn't the kind of socializing and grooming and tenderness that you find in a lion pride. If anything, well, it's anything but that. They do keep to themselves, although they'll be lying close to each other. And that's just for brief moments that they do socialize like that. I think she's getting a response. I'm just seeing her whiskers move in a particular way and her ears. Audrey wants to know if I think the boys will come back today or if they've gone for good. Audrey, I'm sorry, there's absolutely no way of answering that question. It's yes and no. We haven't seen the end of it all. I mean, it's not a case of they've gone for good. It's cold weather. They've just had an impala. They don't necessarily, they're not dependent on her that much anymore. They're making their own kills. It's impossible to predict what nature will do, especially the likes of a cat. Right now, where'd she go? Yes. This is, yeah. Lose concentration when I'm answering questions. Oops. Any stations on drive here?
Marc, on 30 depot and 20 coming out too.
Okay, copy.
Good afternoon, Juno 1020 Mega. Can you help us? Jingo, close one and ball up for shot. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to ignore. Looking for that chrome info that you had this morning.
Huh? You're gonna have to listen for her now. I thought she might have gone to a termite mound up ahead. Where? On the termite mound. Right on top of that termite mound. Guys, I've got Karula quite near the near Impala Plains Sandy Patch Road where they had that bumper in the tree. She's colouring for them on Pimpon. I've got Karula. She's on Shidulu at the moment. About 100 meters north of where they had that bumper, close to the power line.
Okay, so copy. I'll go ahead and I'll try to sound what you do west.
Yeah, copied. Where's Ngala?
So you west of Chuma entrance by name.
Yeah, copied. With an absolutely fantastic shot. Classic if you just look this way. That's good.
Henry Ngala.
Randy's asking about her wet paws. Randy, it's from the wet grass. It's very wet at the moment. We've had this sort of constant drizzle all day. In fact, thankfully it held up for us for the drive this afternoon. I was really looking forward to a drive. It's nice to be out in this weather, especially this time of the year. It's very similar to the Cape winter. Overcast grey with rain. Bit of a breeze starting up now. And yeah, very much so. Her coat is also a little bit wet. Stay up there for a while, Karula. Henry, come in. Henry. Where are you for? I'm good. Where are you now? I've got Karula. If you can come along the power line, I'm close to the power line between Zoe's and that bumper from yesterday. I wish I had a better camera. Okie dokie. Let's see. Some questions coming in. Let's. They're all blurred. Okay, go ahead, Tara. Jody and Chris, all the boys. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Wanting to know whether the boys are going to stay together after leaving Karula. I can't quite emphasize it's not one momentary thing that they leave, and none of anything that happens is predictable. So anything that you can possibly think of could be a scenario. They might stay together for a while after after they don't see her. I can't even answer a question like that. It's very hard because the time when they become independent, they're not going to want to be together at all. In fact, they're going to be quite animosity. There's going to be a bit of animosity between them because Henry, come in from there.
Thanks, I already booked, thank you.
I think if you had to study every leopard with two cubs, especially two male cubs, I think you'd find a whole different case scenario with each one of them. So there's not really something set and standard that I can say, yes, they're going to leave her, they're going to stay together for a month, and then they're going to split up and go their separate ways. Affirmative. She's been colouring them on Pimpan a lot, but they're not answering. I think they must have left. There was some Konzo heading down towards Impala Plains from one of the boys. I can't see the other one.
Okay, copy. Yeah, we left them this morning. They were up where the start, where the bumper was, and the one west, like a little bit south, so I don't know, maybe they've gone back.
Yeah, she's been walking around from Zoe's Road. I picked up her Konzo on Zoe's Road and followed it here. She's been walking around there, that place where the bumper was, and climbing Shidulus and Slasher to call for them. Yep. I hate to be. Okay, sorry, Tara. Go ahead. No, I'm just saying I hate to be so vague about the answers about what's going to happen with the boys and Karula and them leaving and this process of that is imminent. This growing up phase where the boys are going to become independent and go their own ways. I wish I could be more specific and give you better answers, but unfortunately, the only predictable thing about this all is that it is so unpredictable that we just have no way of. It's not that we have no way of knowing. It's not something that is so defined like a particular day or rather a particular point that we can say, okay, it's going to happen it's going to happen at this time and it's going to happen this way. As far as nature is concerned, there's nothing really that we can do those sort of things with. Certainly there are some aspects to nature that are very predictable because of moon phases and all sorts of things. But when it comes to this kind of behavioral question, there's obviously a lot of people out there that would like answers and would like to know more about how it's all going to happen, and I wish I could give answers, and the only thing I can really say is just keep watching Safari TV and let's watch it unfold, because that's the only way we're going to learn about this particular case, about this particular family. And I haven't yet, but I'll try and chat to the people who watched her when she had the two girls and figure out how it went when she had Saseka and Tingana, and when they grew up and they left, and how that all happened. But that would have been a different case entirely, because it was two females. It was different set of circumstances. With females, of course, they don't have to worry about treading on the toes of the dominant male in the area, and being two males growing up in an area where there are already at least three big toms. There's Yambilu Yodan, there's Mafufunyan, there's also this big male called Mvula further to the east. It's possible that these boys are going to have to move far away. So, as I said, possible. We can't tell, we can't know for certain until we're actually a few months down the line, and maybe she's pregnant again, maybe and then we'll know for sure that she's not going to tolerate the boys in her territory anymore, and we'll be able to maybe make conclusions then and say, okay, well, this is how it went for this particular litter. And I think that is one of the things that attracts me the most about nature, is that one can never learn it all. One can never know for certain how things are going to pan out. The fact that every day is different, every sunset is different, every time a leopard has cubs, the outcome is different. There's so many influencing factors. The pressure of other leopards within the area, and the densities of leopard territories, the pressure of lion, whose territories these leopards fall into, the amount of hyena interaction that they have, the availability of prey species, so many different influencing factors that are different for every single leopard throughout Africa, that one can never really put such a time scale or such a clear, distinct pattern to the way they do things. D. Timke, sorry, the name? D. Timko. D. Timko. As I answer your question, I've got a little spot of sun, silvery sun, peeking through a hole in the clouds. D. Timko asking whether Karula still has any contact with her girls. Very much so. Every now and then, we've had times when I think it's been Saseka, every now and then we see Saseka around one of the kills. But Lynn, also a very difficult. Lynn in Canada, gosh, once again a very difficult question to answer. Lynn is asking if, as adults, the boys were to get into a fight and Karula was in the area, would she come and help the boys under those circumstances? Not likely. The maternal bond certainly stretches far, but when it comes to a kind of a confrontation like that, I guess Lynn, you're referring to maybe if they were in a fight with another male or something, she would steer clear. I mean, she doesn't want to get herself injured for no reason. I mean, there's a strong sense of self-preservation in all animals, especially predators, because they have to maintain a good state of health to hunt. Like leopard can't afford injuries, so there's a good chance that she wouldn't do anything. But once again, gosh, I don't know. Another difficult behavioral question. I don't believe they act altruistically. I don't believe that with adult cubs or adult youngsters, sub-adults, adult-sized youngsters, especially since they're bigger than her. I don't think she would do anything. I think if her cubs were under attack when they were younger, she would come to their defense most certainly. But I'm not too sure at what age. I'm not too sure at what age or what size the youngsters would be where it comes to the point where she's going to stop defending them or protecting them or coming to their aid. Shelley asking about the termite mound. Shelley, at the moment, I don't really want to go in because that's a really long answer. Is it active and what is its function, etc. I mean, termite, that's such a long discussion because it's not a quick answer. Looks like this termite mound could be active. There are a few holes in it, but they might not go very deep. The portion that she's lying on looks like it's been worked this last season, so there's a very good chance that it is still active. I guess the quick answer, what is the function of a termite mound? It's thermoregulation and air conditioning. One of these days on a quiet drive we'll stop and do a long talk on termites. There's lots of lovely things to talk about them. Or I'll even do it. That'll be a good idea. I can do it for my next Remarkable Creatures show. But to save myself from being interrupted or having to interrupt a talk on termites while we're with her and we expecting hopefully things to happen, I'm just gonna stick to the subject of the leopards for the time being. I'm hoping that one of the boys are gonna come along. Yeah. Boys have clearly moved quite far, and she was calling at first already back on Zoe's Road, and if they were anywhere near quarantine open area they would have heard her. Pambakwe. Oh. Okay. 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 Hamba kahle. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure, because when I started drive, she was on Zoe's Road. So she's coming to call them, so I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, as we call it the common one. Yeah, so
Have fun. Bye. And yes, just for those of you who have just joined us, as I'm sure there might be a few people who have joined us only recently, my name is Mark, and you're watching Safari TV, and we're coming to you live from the Sabi Sand Game Reserve here in South Africa. Fantastic camera work by Herman at the back. Unfortunately, doesn't have a microphone, and he can't shout because I don't want to disturb Karula. I was just chatting to all the guests from one of the lodges. The lodge is Buyatela, which is part of Djuma Game Reserve, and the guests all enjoying this leopard, now moving along, and they're heading up towards an area further northeast from here to go and look for some elephant. She's interested in something. That forward pointing of the ears is indicative of something that she's concentrating on in the distance. I can't see anything, keeping her head still. Whether it is the vehicle making its way out, or maybe one of the boys making their way in. Hi Patty. Patty's asking why she puts her head down to call. Patty, I think it's more got to do with the vocal cords and bringing that up from the stomach. Using the power of her stomach and her chest to create the call. Oh no. Ephraim, come in. Is that you coming to Ingwe? Do you know where I am?
Yeah, I'm coming there. I forgot the English.
Okay, copy. I mean, part of it is also, I guess, Herman mentioned it earlier, it looks like she's bouncing the sound off of the termite mound. That is possible. But even when they're on the ground, they're calling down rather than up. And I think it's got a lot to do with the way the vocal cords sit and the way the noise, the way her sound comes out. Linda in Pittsburgh, how far will the sound carry? Well, not nearly as far as a lion. I think probably about half a mile to 3/4 of a mile. There is a bit of a breeze now, so obviously the call will carry with the breeze a little bit further. Earlier on it was very, very quiet, very still, no wind at all. And in the conditions like that, when there isn't very much external noise, leaves on the trees, wind blowing through trees, etc. Obviously lovely still conditions, it carries quite well. Also the cold temperatures with a lot of moisture around, likely to, the moisture is likely to stifle the call a little bit, rather than the cooler, drier times of winter, true winter. But it also depends on the density of the bush. Under the circumstances, where she is, it's quite open, but the sound will get lost in the density of all this combretum, these broadleaf trees all around us. One of the reasons why she is climbing the termite mound, calling from the termite mound. See those ears now going a little bit flat. I'm not very happy about the noise on the other side. A lot of people have arrived on the other vehicle. You can see how her whole body moves when she's making this call, and how much of her stomach is involved in pushing that air out and getting that call out. Yep. That's from who? Stacy. Interesting question from Stacy. Would leopard, would she recognize her offspring years after? And would there be any interaction similar to when they are together? Stacy, they certainly do recognize each other, and I think that familial or that parental bond will last throughout their lifetimes. And I have seen leopard coming across each other years later. There certainly isn't the kind of interaction that you get with the way they interact now, and there's no licking and rolling and playing. I've seen different interactions with youngsters long after they've left their mother. And most of the time I've seen this happen is they come together, they eye each other out, and there's a little bit of snarling and hissing, but there's clearly a truce, there's clearly a what's the word I'm looking for? Let's put it this way, there's no aggression. Baring of teeth and a little bit of hissing. But most certainly they do recognize each other. Also, not really a predictable thing. I guess the times that I've seen it are but a tiny little fraction of the amount of leopards there are that have got cubs out there, and it could very well be that a leopard has a strong bond with a cub that 5 years down the line they're liable to rub heads and lick each other. It's not impossible. One can't gauge all leopard behavior based on merely a handful of sightings, so very hard to say what kind of interaction there will be. One thing I can be certain about is that they will recognize each other. Certainly their sense. One of the main reasons for that is that leopard are so territorial, and the youngster knows the mother's territory, and the mother's not likely to leave that territory. So when a youngster comes back to within its mother's territory, or if it sets up territory on the boundaries of its parents' territory, those interactions are going to be quite frequent. And sorry, I'm getting distracted by all the talking. Seems she is too. Those ears, the position of her ears at the moment are an indication that she's not very comfortable. Unfortunately, the other vehicle is talking a bit loud. Peggy, another pretty interesting question. Wanting to know whether if the boys hear the call, they know it's her calling and not another leopard, since Peggy's saying all leopard calls sound the same. Well, Peggy, to us they sound the same. To the boys it's as distinct as our own mother's voice, that we can pick out of a crowd. I mean, you can, out of 1,000 voices. When you look at the likes of impala herds or a big herd of buffalo, gee, even further than that, you look at the colony of thousands of penguins or gannets, or gosh, any large gregarious or hugely gregarious, I wouldn't say large gregarious, but hugely gregarious animal that breeds together or breeds in the same place. You get seabirds, for example, that have even less of a distinct difference between all their calls than a leopard. I can tell the difference. She's calling them now. Wow. Wow. But when you look at things like seabirds or sheep or impala, and it's a very simple call, those youngsters know exactly the sound of their mother's voice, and to us as humans there's no distinction between them at all. But of course that's all got to do with the parent or that maternal child bond that is so important in the upbringing of youngsters that are dependent on their mother for protection and food. I'm trying to think of an analogy, but I think I've pretty much covered it. But they are very, very distinct. When they're out in the bush now, for example, out on their own, any other leopard calls, they're certainly going to know to steer clear of that other leopard, particularly if it's a big male. Big male, of course, is going to be a lot deeper and heavier and louder, and maybe will go on for a little bit longer. There she goes. So we need to count how many times she saws. Audrey wants to know how long she'll keep calling them for. I haven't the faintest clue, Audrey. That's another one of those things. There's no way of telling. She might give up now. She might call all night. The only way to find out is to just stay with her, and hopefully, eventually they're gonna hear her. Ephraim, come in. Ephraim, come in. I was calling Ephraim. At 3 o'clock she was on Zoe's Road. She was colouring from western edge of quarantine and on Zoe's Road, and I picked her up when I came around this side because I lost her tracks going off Zoe's Road, and then found her when I came this side. She was in that Shadulu where one of the Mampimpan were this morning. She's been walking around calling them since about 3:30. She seems to have reached a point where she's given up walking around. I think this is probably her best vantage point for calling. She knows it. There's the typical call for cubs when she comes back to an area where she's left cubs, but that's cubs, youngsters. And this is a call she will call when they are close by. But that wow is not a very loud noise. It shouldn't be, in fact, because invariably when they are very young cubs, obviously this isn't the case now, but certainly when they were young and when she does have the next litter. Sorry. Something heading towards Gary Dam. Could be the elephants. Thank you. Excuse me. So, as I was saying, that one call that she's doing, that very low call, normally when she got when the cubs are relatively young and they're very disciplined in that they stay put in a very thickly or densely vegetated area or in a den site, and she'll call like that when she gets near, and then they'll come out. But obviously as the boys are getting older and moving further apart, that call is not being reached. There's no response from that call, so she's going into her territorial, much louder location call. Put something warm on, I'm getting cold. I didn't bring nearly enough warm clothes today. Good? Huh? Huh? They're not saying they're good. Right. Any of the new viewers out there, if you just joined us, we're sitting with the leopard here in the Sabi Sands, northern part of the Sabi Sands. This is coming to you live, 100% live, on a very cool Sunday afternoon, the end of May. We've got a day left of May. Labor Day weekend for the States. My name is Marc. Herman is on camera with me, and you're watching the Safari Channel. And we welcome you. Any new viewers, if you have any questions or queries or anything you want to tell us, let us know where you are. Email to finalcontrol@safari.tv. Robin was asking, I thought she was going to call again. Robin was asking why she's calling, or why she's calling the boys. For those of you who have just joined us, we've been with this leopard now for a little while, since virtually the start of drive. I have no idea how long it's been, an hour or so. I don't watch the time when I'm sitting with a leopard like this. Well, I don't watch the time, period. I don't have a watch. I haven't worn a wristwatch for 25 years or more. When we started our drive, normally what we do is welcome everybody to the drive and say hello. And as I started the drive at 3 p.m. Central African time, we heard her calling, and we immediately went to the area where I thought I heard her calling from. We found her tracks, followed her tracks along a road for some time until they turned off in this direction, and I got the idea that she was coming back towards an area where she had left her 2 sub-adult male cubs. Well, we can't call them cubs anymore, and I guess it's onomatopoeic to say sub-adult cubs. They're sub-adult leopards. They're sub-adults. They're bigger than her at the moment. But a couple of days ago, she killed a young impala ram, and hauled it up into the upper reaches of a big scotia, also known as the weeping boerbean, and then subsequently went to fetch her boys and brought them to the kill. And we were lucky enough to watch them on the kill for a while. That was up until yesterday, I think, or no, till Friday, I think. I'm not too sure. Yesterday there was still something, I can't remember, sorry, days blur here, but this morning with Patrick and Tara, they were here. One of the boys went south, the other one was lying up on a termite mound not far from where we are now. In fact, was lying up on a termite mound where we first saw her this afternoon. And I did notice coming here that there were some leopard tracks on a road to the west of us heading south, and that was before the rain, so that would have been earlier this morning, and that would have been the same leopard that Tara mentioned that headed south. He would probably be, judging by the distance those tracks went, he's probably well at least half a mile to 3/4 of a mile away, if the tracks are anything to go by, if not even further. I'm not too sure where the other male is, the other boy. He could have also gone somewhere from here, obviously not very close. She's been calling constantly since we first heard her at about 3 p.m. out. 3 p.m. our time. Now that call that she's just been doing now is very similar to, probably a subtle difference between that and the call and what is her territorial call. So it could be a combination of advertising her territory but also trying to call her sons. And my guess is the reason why she's come back and she's calling them is that she's got a kill somewhere else, and she's come along to find them and maybe take them back to that kill. A number of questions have come in, one in particular as to how long she will keep it up. Not really an easy answer to that question. If she does have a kill somewhere, she's going to be wanting to go back to it. Chicky, how many litters can a leopard have in a lifetime? Well, I'd say on average every 3 years or so, or 2.5 to 3 years, so maybe 4 or 5 litters, not really sure. Navalile. Sorry. Welcome back. Missed you. Sadly had my radio down.